it is about that time. On the show tonight from Kgosi Bookshelf. Thank you so much for joining us again. Welcome.
Thank you for having me again. It's great being here.
Yes, it is Youth Month. Do you have a lot of books by young authors? It is also International Pride Month. I can imagine you just brought those two themes together.
It was tough making a selection, but I made a deliberate choice to choose South African authors.
Oh, okay.
Exclusively with a queer narrative.
Okay.
So yeah, that was the theme and I stuck to the assignment.
I am so excited. Okay, let's get started. What's the first book you've got in store for us?
This is probably the thickest book that I've ever read.
Oh,
this is
thick.
Yes, I was actually playing with it just before we went on air. I was like, it's huge.
Yeah, this is a thick book. This is 610 pages of sheer literary excellence.
Oh, wow.
This is by Sello Duiker. It's called The Quiet Violence of Dreams. And in this book, we follow Tsepo's life, who's a student in Cape Town, and his life goes haywire. It derails. There's a lot going on. And he finds himself working at a bathhouse. Or should we say a massage house? You know those types with a happy ending?
It is a bathhouse. Is it? Yeah, it is a bathhouse.
And
In South Africa.
In South Africa, in Cape Town. And we explore his life as he deals with that experience of now having to service clients and realizing and coming to terms with who he really is and what he likes, exploring his queerness. And this book, there's a lot that happens. It's raw, it's unfiltered. It was published in the early 2000s, and I cannot help but think of Yizo as I was reading this book. That's how raw it is. And I wonder if the directors and the creators of Yizo didn't draw inspiration from this book, because it was a really, really raw book, but I enjoyed reading it so much. And the themes that are covered in this book, even though it was written like over 20 years ago, are still very much relevant today.
Oh, I love that.
Yeah, so I think it's so sad that this author has passed away. It would have been nice to see what his work would have been like as he grew older and his writing improved. But I know that a lot of South African readers, I wonder if this is not a set work at university, have read some of Sello Duiker's work. I think in a few years' time, this should be like considered a South African classic.
Yeah. Sounds absolutely incredible. The Quiet Violence of Dreams. That is definitely one to get. What is the second book that you've got in store for us tonight? So
I've got The God Who Made Mistakes by Ekow Duker. And in this book, it's about a young couple who are living, the classic, ideal suburban life. And then as the husband interacts with his book club, he realizes that, maybe I like this. And he comes across an ex from the past. But I can't see really they were an ex. They had a thing as they were growing up, right?
A situationship.
They had a situationship when they were in varsity. And as he meets him, his life unravels. His wife catches them steamy in a car in the street, and the sex scene was so steamy. Like I was like this author.
I love a beautifully written sex scene in a book.
Yes, it wasn't how can I say it? It was beautifully written and it was tasteful. But you could also capture the emotions of what was happening and how steamy it was. And the only thing that drew me back with this book was the ending. I felt like it was a bit rushed. But this author is an amazing author. How I got to this book was I finished reading a book of his on a Friday. Then on a Saturday, I was in Bloom, long distance in Jola. I was visiting, and I was like, we are going to the bookshop tomorrow. We are going to look for the next book by this author. And then I bought this, and I also read this in a few days.
Oh, wow.
Yeah, that's how drawn I was into his writing. I really, really enjoyed this.
Also South African?
Yes, he is a South African author. He's written White Wahala and also Dying in New York, which was a very grotesque and raw book. Yeah.
We are talking all things books this Youth Month as well as this International Pride Month. Wisani Mushwana from Kgosi Bookshelf joining us in studio. You check him out and buy some books. Okay, what is our next book? I see the one that you picked up right now. I want to read this book so bad. By Tshiamo, right?
It is by Tshiamo. I also wanted to read it so bad. I remember I was walking around Crest and I saw this book and I was like, ooh, this girl's so pretty. I want to read her book. And when I got home, Penguin had actually sent it to me, and I was so excited.
Yeah.
So this is Am Tshiamo, my journey into self-acceptance and womanhood. This is by modisane.
Yes.
I actually wanted to wear my t-shirt with the trans colors, but it's cold. So
Okay. Not tonight.
not tonight, it's cold. And this is Tshiamo's memoir. So Tshiamo is a award-winning producer, actress, fashion, and celebrity stylist. Do you know her?
Yes, I know Tshiamo very well.
She is so beautiful.
Yeah, she's gorgeous.
And here she details her life on how she got to the point where she is now. So Tshiamo was born as Kgosi Etsile, meaning king. And in this book, she takes us through her life as a young boy, her relationship with her family at that time. And we sort of grow with her along the years, leading to a point where she transitioned into becoming Tshiamo. And the reason why I liked this book so much, it reminds me of when I was reading Bonang's book. It feels like you are sitting next to her and she's telling you about her life. It feels like a conversation. So it's really not a hard read, and it's a very easy book to get through. And the best part about it is that there are pictures.
Oh, that is beautiful.
I love a book with pictures. And here she shares pictures of her mother and her grandmother and her life.
When she was younger.
Yeah. You know what? I actually wanted to see that picture. The baby pictures here, and there's one of her at her 3rd birthday.
Yeah.
And there's many more pictures here that detail her life, and we see her in TV, and she was part of an ad campaign for a major company. So
Is it normal for books to have pictures? And also, if they have pictures, is there a specific name that is used or phrase to kind of, I don't know, categorize that particular book? Because from all the books I've interacted with, there's hardly pictures.
I know, right? So to answer your second question first, I don't think there's a special separate name for those books, unless if it's like a coffee table book. But those are like humongous, right?
Yeah.
And it's not normal for books to have pictures, but what I've seen is that some memoirs and autobiographies have pictures, and I'm always very happy to see that in those books, because you get to see the author at different stages of their life. So, and I'm also very happy to see like a visual representation of what I am reading about.
Oh, to have pictures to reference.
Yeah,
Yes.
because it's always in your imagination, right? When you are reading a book, but then to have those pictures go along with the biography, I think is absolutely brilliant. Congratulations to Tshiamo for releasing this book. It's definitely a book that I need to read this year. I Am Tshiamo, also a South African author. Who is next?
We've got Boy on the Run by Welcome Mandla Lishivha.
Yes.
If you were at Wits circa 2011 to 2014, I think.
Yeah, then Welcome.
You should know who Welcome is.
Yeah.
And when I saw that Welcome had written a book, I was so happy because, we're not close, but we've always said hi to each other. So it was nice to pick up a book from somebody who I know.
He does appear, right?
And who I walked the Wits, the Wits halls with. And so when I picked up this book, I think it was the first book of 2023 that I finished reading. And I was very excited to learn more about Welcome's life. And Welcome covered a lot in this book.
Yeah.
From childhood to university, to the university political arena. Welcome delivered on all of that. And there was mentions of Mvoyo and Matapelo, and those are people that I went to high school with. So I was like, I know these people.
Exactly. I love the way he describes his relationship with his mom in the book.
That was so special.
Beautiful. Yeah, they've got an amazing relationship, and the way he details it, you can definitely feel the love and feel the pain of when he loses his mom.
Yeah, and the way that his mom passed away was very, very, very tragic. And I actually didn't know until I started reading the book. I didn't even read the synopsis because I knew Welcome. I was like, let me buy this book.
Yeah.
And the cover is very pretty as well.
It is amazing. He was in Berlin quite recently touring with the book. So he's doing incredibly well. That is a Boy on the Run, right?
Yes, this is Boy on the Run.
Absolutely incredible. What's the next book?
Then we've got, now we're jumping into fiction.
Okay.
And we've got A Soft Landing by Wisani Mushwana.
Okay.
So this book is about Anzani and Neo, who are in love, and they're very, very young. And then Neo passes away, and Anzani finds himself in Cape Town. They had a dream. They were going to go to Cape Town together, and they were going to start their life in Cape Town at UCT. Unfortunately, Neo passes away, and Anzani has to carry on that dream alone.
Sure.
But Anzani never really dealt with the loss. And so even in his relationships in Cape Town, they're nothing more than situationships. And he cannot move on past the loss. And he doesn't realize it until somebody challenges him and says, you need to go home and face whatever demons you left at home, because you won't be able to carry on with your life. What I liked about this book is you can tell that the author is he's very academic. So he references other books like We Need New Names, and he explains other books. I always feel like you can tell when an author reads other people's books, you know?
Yeah, 100%.
And this author, I think he's an academic himself. And this was a very nice book to read. There is a YouTube review on my channel. One thing I would like going forward from authors when they're writing queer romance, especially in the African context, can it not be tragic? Can they actually...
They're always tragic,
But it's
man.
always tragic. It
No,
never
it's
ends
not.
well. It never ends well unless you
Sometimes
watch
it doesn't end.
Okay, I have never heard that one, but
Sometimes
it's always...
it's a forever love.
Well, I mean, that's like 1 out of 100.
Oh, come on. I hear you. A happy ending would be absolutely incredible. Thank you very much.
Yes.
A happy ending would be incredible. Do we have a bonus book?
We do have a bonus book.
Okay, we'll chat about that bonus book up next. Akahang Musimane Khosi on the show tonight from Khosi Bookshelf. Do follow him on the socials and buy some books as well. We are reviewing some books that have got to do with International Pride Month as well as Youth Month in our country. More books coming up next.
It really was nice to read this book because it explored the queer experience from a colored perspective in Cape Town. And I think currently in the South African literary space, there's not a lot of books written by colored authors or that touch on the colored experience. And so whenever I see a book like that written by a colored author, I always want to add it to my shelf. So this was one of those. And I bought this book because the cover is so striking.
Yeah, it really is. It's this silver color with, is that a
it's his face. He's in the bath.
right?
And yeah, I think...
I thought it's no.
And if you open it...
Oh, it's a full
you can see his full face.
Yeah, his full face. So this was a very interesting book to read, open my eyes to something. And I always like books where you get to see life through the perspective of another person.
Yeah.
So yeah, this is definitely one that I think should be on the reading list for Pride Month and Youth Month.
All right, let's go through all those books again. Absolutely incredible.
So we've got Khamr, The Makings of a Waterslams by Jamil F. And then we've got A Soft Landing by Wisani Mushwana. And then we've got Boy on the Run by Welcome Lishivha. And then we've got Am Tshiamo by modisane. And last. Oh, there's so many books today.
Yeah.
We've got The God Who Made Mistakes by Ekow Duker. And lastly, this should be a South African classic.
Yes.
Is A Quiet Violence of Dreams by Sello Duiker.
Amazing. Thank you so much for pulling through. I think it was even better that these are South African authors. We appreciate you so much. Where can we follow you on the socials to get to hear about more books that you speak about?
You can follow me on Khosi Bookshelf, on X, on TikTok, on Instagram, and on YouTube.
All right.
That's where you can get me.
That's where we can catch you. Thank you so much for pulling through once again. We'll see you July. Oh, some winter reads in July.
Yeah, July, I would like the listeners to suggest a theme.
Okay, I like that. I like
Yes.
that. Suggest a
I'd
theme
like
for
to
July
know.
on 082-550-5151, and we'll let Akahang know what our theme is going to be. Absolutely love it. Thank you so much for all these amazing recommendations. We'll see you soon.
Thank you for having me. Until next month, I'm looking forward to it.
All right, let's do this.